The general laughed before he even finished the sentence. His voice cut through the training yard like a whip, sharp and cruel. "You think you can fight with that?" he sneered, pointing at her prosthetic leg. The words landed heavy, and the entire unit froze, then smiled politely, pretending the mockery didn't sting. But inside her chest, something broke. Her name was Lieutenant Mara Collins, and she had survived the kind of accident that should have ended her career. Instead, she came back stronger only to be met with the worst enemy of all: disrespect from the man who led them. She stood tall, breathing slow, refusing to let anger show. She had learned long ago that rage could be used against you. Still, her hands trembled, not from fear, but from the ache of being underestimated. Before I tell you what happened next, tell me in the comments where you're rewatching from. I love knowing who's listening. The day was dry and bright, the sun burning the dust into a glittering haze. The air tasted of metal and sweat. The unit moved like a machine, but the mood had changed. Even the birds seemed to avoid the training field. Mara had always been careful. She had trained harder than anyone because she knew what people said behind her back. She knew the whispers. She knew the doubts. But the general's words were different. They weren't just doubts. They were an insult. The soldiers around her shifted uneasily. Some looked away. Others stared at the ground, pretending not to care. Only one man watched her with quiet understanding: Sergeant Rami, a veteran with scars on his hands and kindness in his eyes. He knew what it took to survive. The general continued to laugh. "A prosthetic isn't a badge of honor. It's a weakness. And in my unit, weaknesses get left behind." Mara felt the world narrow. The noise dimmed. Her heartbeat became the only sound she could hear. She wanted to answer, to scream, to break something, but she did not. Instead, she turned and walked away, leaving the yard and the mocking behind. She thought she'd never forgive him. She was wrong. Later that afternoon, the unit was moving through a narrow canyon deep in enemy territory. The sun had dipped lower, turning the rocks into burning gold. The air was still, too still. Then the first shot rang out. It wasn't a warning, it was a trap. The enemy had been waiting, hidden in the cliffs. The unit was pinned down instantly, bullets ripping through the air like angry hornets. Soldiers fell. Dust rose in thick clouds, turning the world into a blurred nightmare. The general shouted orders, his voice strained. "Hold position. Return fire." Mara's prosthetic leg hit the ground hard as she ran, each step a reminder of the accident she survived. The canyon echoed with screams and gunfire. Her breath came in quick bursts. The general was exposed, standing too close to the edge, trying to direct the men. A bullet ripped past him, grazing his shoulder, stumbled. In that moment, everything changed. Mara saw the enemy's position. She saw the shooter hidden behind a rock, aiming for the commander. Her instincts took over. She didn't think. She moved. She grabbed a rifle that wasn't hers. Her hands were steady, but her mind was racing. The moral question flashed through her. Do I save the man who mocked me? She could have hesitated. She didn't. Mara fired. One shot, then another. The enemy returned fire, and the canyon became a storm of sand and lead. But she kept going, each bullet finding its mark. 17 shots, 20, 25. The enemy began to fall back. By the time the smoke cleared, the unit was alive. The general stood there, stunned. His face was pale, his pride shattered. The soldiers around him went silent, not because they were afraid, but because they had just witnessed something they never expected. Mara lowered the rifle, breathing hard. Her prosthetic leg trembled, but she did not. The silence lasted for a moment longer. Then Sergeant Rami stepped forward, and the unit erupted into applause. Not loud, not mocking, but genuine. The sound echoed through the canyon like thunder. The general looked at Mara with a new expression, not respect but shame. He swallowed, then nodded once. No words were needed, because sometimes the strongest answer is the one you don't say. Mara walked away, not triumphant, not bitter. Just steady, just alive. Because courage isn't about being fearless. It's about standing up when you're scared on, doing what's right anyway. It's because respect, ice, and tea earned by mocking others is earned by standing beside them when it matters most. And as the sun set behind the canyon, the dust settled. And the memory of the general's mockery faded into the silence of a lesson learned the hard way. If you felt this story, leave a comment. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe to Whispered Words, because every life has a moment that changes everything.